coming down.
Yeah, I did lose my thought.
It's Operation Warp Speed something.
Okay.
But we can move to something else. I have all kinds of deep.
No, so I mean that's a
Oh.
reasonable thought, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I mean there's a branch of conservatives who's really not as radical like you were touching on, as like, oh, we're Trumpsters, you know, because
Right.
it really is at least some people I know that are conservatives, and for the most part, you know, there's a large amount that I know, but they're not as like radical as like Trump supporters as I would initially believe to be.
Right.
No, but I mean, what you are saying is completely reasonable, and I am more on the other side of that spectrum, but definitely totally agree with you.
Right.
You know, Obama, Trump, Bush,
Oh, the
you know,
Bushes, they're
yeah,
terrible.
I mean, it just, you know, we are
Yeah.
living in a created, you
Right.
know, reality by higher powers, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I
Okay,
mean,
so
people
now-
with a lot more funding, you
So
know.
now you guys are getting into my realm of things.
Yeah, yeah.
Where I'm huge on conspiracy theories. I am a conspiracy buff. You know?
I wouldn't say I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I mean, I can like entertain them, but I definitely like to poke at those and put holes in them as much as I can. Because
Well, so here's the funny part. 2020 has shown anything to me has shown that conspiracy theorists are just theorists, and not only are they theorists, conspiracies do exist. You know, there's plenty of documentation out there to show that conspiracies exist. Whether you want to go into the moon landing, JFK, whatever you want to delve into.
just out of curiosity,
Conspiracies.
so did we land on the moon?
Did we land on the moon?
Yeah, yeah. Just
So
just a
excited
quick,
right now.
just a quick.
We're trying to talk to this guy about this whole thing, but I don't know. He
The
doesn't
fact,
want
that
to talk about it.
the fact that the technology existed in the 60s
And we haven't landed since then.
and the technology does not so far
Yeah, yeah.
exist now.
I'm feeling you. I feel you on that.
And
I
the
really
fact,
do.
The fact that Hollywood producers and stuff were brought into a lot of the
Yeah.
the aspects of that. Do I feel like Russia lied as well? Because they were showing the capsule that, and again, a lot of this shit is regurgitated from Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
This isn't me saying it, but a lot of stuff that he said in it has got me thinking like, oh wow, I never looked into it that much, but apparently he has. The Russians, the capsule that the guy was in, but then they had a camera, a live streaming camera of him in the rocket going into space. I don't think the Russians made it to space. I think we may have made it to space, but we didn't make it to the moon. So there's a lot to be said.
Yeah. I want to hear.
Well, I was actually going to say, have you ever shared these ideas with other people, and what are their reactions when you bring that kind of thing up? I just noticed that I tend to withdraw, and I don't talk about it with people unless I know they're open to talk, because we're so programmed
Yeah.
and conditioned that like
You don't
our
wanna be
ego will
that-
not
yeah.
accept anything but will be
Like, how are you
ingrained.
even questioning it? We got
Exactly.
footage of it. Yeah.
Right.
I'm super woke. You know what I mean?
No, I mean that's another term that's kind of just
Yeah.
thrown out, like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, you're just woke, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you're too woke. You know, it's like, oh, well, wait, hold on, like,
Right.
let's define what your definition
Yeah.
of woke is.
Yeah. With everything, I engage people that seem engaged.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if you're kind of
Yeah.
like, wait, what are you saying?
Yeah,
It's like, oh, you never
Yeah.
heard this?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't question that, you know, aspect
Right.
of it. Like,
Yeah.
we haven't gone to the moon since.
Yeah.
You know, like that
Seem
doesn't
off.
that does, yeah, it doesn't
Oh,
like you
weird.
know doesn't
Yeah.
spark anything in you. Like,
I like kind of
I mean,
blowing people's mind, but putting that
just putting the seed.
the seed,
Yeah, yeah,
planting the
yeah,
seed
yeah, yeah.
Of
question or just
come on, you
like
doubt,
think
you
about
know,
it. Yeah,
you
yeah.
doubt
Yeah.
into, like,
I
come on.
mean, imagine society when we first landed on the moon. I mean, we didn't have much of what we have now. Yeah, exactly. And the fact that we had enough technology to do that. I mean, we had VR technology in like the 90s, right?
Right.
But it's like, I mean, it's just.
Capability.
But yeah,
It's just not the same.
But the fact that we haven't done it since then is like even more mind-boggling. It's like, dang, what the hell is going on? We've been on Mars.
But we have so
Yeah.
much money put into
Yeah.
these programs.
Correct. Yes.
So then that makes you go down that rabbit
Where's that-
hole.
where's that
the
money going? Yeah, yeah.
What's happening?
Well, and depending on how deep you want to go into the rabbit hole, NASA was ran and basically formed by exiled Nazis.
Now that one I haven't heard.
yeah.
Oh, you
I know.
didn't
Tell me
know?
more of this.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Then
That's
the
put a
news-
link in the link in the comments.
yeah, really. Show me your source.
Yeah.
So
That's what it needs to be.
Wikipedia.
Exiled Nazis that were looking to
QAnon.
get
Right.
to get sanctity
Mm-hmm.
after the World War II came. They're like, look, so we can either persecute you for your crimes against humanity,
Uh-huh.
or you can come work for our government because you guys are scientists and you guys are very, very well versed. And you guys took. So what the Nazis did is the Nazis took a lot of morality out of their science because they were doing it on Jews.
Mm-hmm.
So they were doing a lot of things that people wouldn't do because it's like, look, this is stuff where it's moral, it's immoral what you're doing, and we would never do it because of the fact that we follow morality in the way we do our scientific process. Nazis didn't have that. Nazis were like, they're Jews, they're not even people, we don't even care about them, we'll do whatever we want with them, and we're going to run a bunch of tests on them. So in that, a lot of science was, I guess, pushed forward. And a lot of those scientists, they're saying, well, a lot of these scientists can either go to Russia or they can come to the U.S. I'd rather have them working with us than working against us.
Got it.
So the leader of NASA, or not the, I don't want to say the leader, the head of NASA was a former Nazi.
Oh, wow.
I forget his name, and it really pisses me off. The whiskey's getting.
No, that's fact. I mean, that
You
is
guys don't want to
yeah,
sell it that far.
Gotcha. Nice.
Documented. You can look it up. You can see.
Nah,
he's-
so
he's
I've
got a
never
German-
heard of this. So
He's got a
it's
super
awesome.
German name, and he's got a scar across his face. I forget his name.
Cultured
If you want to.
at its finest, right here. This is pretty awesome.
Not a founder of NASA. He was the head of NASA in the '60s. And we all know how Nazis use propaganda
Right.
as a form of manipulation.
So they're already
to get the people.
well versed in
Oh,
that
so then they just easily
manipulation. Yeah.
were able to.
They had the game plan,
Right.
basically. So when it came to tricking the public into letting them know that we went to these places to beat Russia, the whole point was to beat Russia to space.
Werner von Braun.
Von Braun, thank
Last
you.
name Braun.
Yeah. So if you guys want, look into it. Call me out on it in the comments if you want.
Yeah.
We'll
Drop that
we'll
link.
culture ourselves.
Drop
a
it.
little
Yeah,
bit.
definitely. That's
yeah.
what this is all about,
Yeah.
right?
But yeah, so Werner von Braun was the head of NASA when the World War II ended, and
Ex-Nazi.
yeah, ex-Nazi, and so they had all the tools to manipulate large masses.
So did Homeboy just get away like scot-free after this?
Right.
Like, yeah. So he
Not
helped
only
us
that,
out.
They praised the guy.
Yeah.
They praised the guy for his science and his work that he did. You know, he got us
Yeah.
to the moon.
Yeah.
And he trained everybody else underneath
Yeah.
him to do the same thing as his legacy, right? Throughout.
A whole lot
So
of Nazis.
he's a
A lot
hero.
of Nazis in NASA.
Wow.
So, I mean, and then you have South America,
and then you got
Central
Hidden Figures, and then it's all coming together.
America.
Since you guys formerly come from aviation,
I wanted this so bad in the podcast. I was like, when are we get to the conspiracy theory?
That's when I come in.
and this is a debate that we have,
Not a debate. That's true. Go ahead.
a discussion that she dominates pretty much every single time. Is contrails versus chemtrails. What are your thoughts on the matter?
Like, what do they exist?
Yes. Do chemtrails exist? And not everything up there is contrails.
I'm just gonna butt in here. I don't even know what.
So
We're
contrails
being-
are trails that the airplanes leave
Okay.
that evaporate right away.
Right away.
Okay.
Contrails are trails that they leave where they stay in the sky, streaks that stay in the sky
Gotcha.
for a long time. You're just kind of like, hey, a plane came through.
Yeah. No, I see it every morning.
Right. So that's
Yeah.
a chemtrail.
Oh, that's going to New Zealand. Yeah, that's got that right. I remember like, yeah.
See, I'm not the only
Yeah.
one that pulls the phone out.
Oh, hey.
This guy, at one point in time, could tell you every flight that was flying over
Yeah.
Long Beach at the time,
Oh
based off
my
the time.
Well,
Gosh,
so
that's
I
crazy.
mean, we had some. I mean,
you
was
don't
lucky to be having some nerdy friends that were like, "Oh, that one's going to Hawaii. That one, yeah, I mean, it was rad. The fact, but it was kind of nerdy. But yeah, I mean, I was just like, okay, sounds cool.
It's a plane.
Yeah, yeah.
I still go, wow, that's a big plane.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know
And if
anything
you're
about
into
it.
that kind of shit, Airside Eric is the guy you want to go to.
Yes.
If not,
Also, last name Braun.
Ops Jake. Yeah, last name Braun as well. Coincidence? I think not. If not, Ops Jake. Much better pictures, if you ask me, and a lot better content. But whatever.
Fair.
But here we go. So when it comes to Chemtrails, I believe they exist.
Mhm.
I believe they're real. I believe they're. There's clearly a difference between Chemtrails and chemtrails. Did I say chemtrails or chemtrails?
Chemtrails.
I believe they exist.
Mhm.
The reasoning behind it is still what's foggy to me. I can see reasons for both, because so one of the theories is that they leave chemtrails to they add reflective particles, metallic particles in the atmosphere, and it's to help with the amount of UV rays that come to the surface, or not to the surface, just in general in the ozone layer, to help with either help with or add to global warming, depending on which side of
Your
the
thought process.
conversation you
Yeah.
stand, right? So they could be adding to global warming,
Yeah.
which adds to the narrative of what, you know, the left tends to, you know, kind of beat the drum about global warming or climate change or whatever it is. Or they could be reflective.
This is pretty sweet, though.
I think we need to stop to hear
Yeah,
this.
yeah, that's pretty.
We're being summed here right now.
It's Long Beach, baby. It's Long Beach. Or they're meant to reflect some of the UV rays back out so it doesn't all get to the surface and help to prevent climate change and global warming. Do I believe they exist? I don't know enough about.
So I'm totally new to this conversation. It's believed people are doing this to add to global warming, to make it like
Possibly.
okay.
One or the other.
Is
To
that
help-
am I understanding
I'm not sure
this?
which side of the fence you stand on.
So I wouldn't say I believe it's to create global warming. I believe it's definitely creating atmospheric disturbances. And to say, like, do I think it exists or not? I mean, I have to believe what I observe and experience and see. And what I see is things that are not clouds in the sky. I see the planes dropping off lines, all over. It's not just here. It's literally everywhere now, all over the world. And then I have to take note of what's happening naturally, Mother Nature, that's going on. So why do we have tornadoes in the middle of winter in the middle of our country? There was a tornado watch coming in to Florida just yesterday.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
We have these volcanoes, right, that are erupting with lightning bolts that are hitting. I think they said per second there was 167 lightning bolts per second. And we know with HARP, like HARP is a whole nother, I don't know if you know about HARP, they generate and can create
Totally getting schooled
all
here,
this
by the
stuff.
way. Yeah, so.
But I mean that there's things that is occurring in our atmosphere that's changing it genetically. And it's easy to play it off as naturally because it's happening to our environment. But when you know that these types of things can create it, it's engineered. And then health ramifications are huge when it comes to the chemtrails. So particles falling down from the sky and infecting our bodies are
Definitely.
metallic
Yes.
particles. It's extremely unhealthy. And
Correct,
then you get
yes.
into EMFs and all these other things. I mean, we can go on forever on these things, but yes,
So
that's
I
what
think
it is.
we actually had a podcast earlier where we talked about global warming,
Yeah.
you and I. And it was like, do you believe global warming is real? Do you believe it's not?
Yeah,
I talked about the
you were like, I don't think we're gonna be wearing masks or anything.
Yeah, well,
I mean, and totally
so
separate, but yeah,
mine
we are wearing
was,
masks.
I was talking about the Malenkovitch Cycles, right? So the Malenkovitch Cycles is basically that the Earth's orbit around the sun is not in a perfect circle. We're not the exact distance from the sun at every given moment. It's kind of an ellipsis, and it kind of goes. So to me, that's what contributed to the change in climate control, right? Whether they were trying to counteract that with chemtrails or whatever they were doing, I don't know.
Right.
Again, I don't know.
Right.
It's
That's
the
it.
Rothschilds and Rockefeller.
Yeah, definitely.
They
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So, That's so that it's just funny that we're
God.
touching back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone
Yeah,
shoot that
yeah.
bird.
Get your
Get a
baby gun.
shotgun out here or something.
But yeah, so it's just funny that we're coming again. I'm very, very like passionate about quote unquote conspiracy theories. I like getting into that world. I like seeing about it, but it's hard to understand because any information you're getting when you're a conspiracy theorist, any information you're getting, you're like, where's this information? coming
Yeah,
Right,
definitely. Yeah.
Right.
from? Which side?
Which
of the,
any like reasonable person should be doing, right?
which side of the bullshit am I
yeah,
getting it from?
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like I get it, but there's certain things that just make sense.
Yeah.
Right.
You
No,
know, so I can
and
make sense.
and that's I mean totally logical. Like you can respect that. Like I said, I'm totally being schooled right now, and I never looked into any of this. But you know, general thought about.
This fucker really wants to be in this.
Maybe he has thoughts on chemtrails. He's affected,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, he's like, yo, guys,
This is
you guys are,
government
yeah,
censorship.
I'm, like, you guys are speaking truth, you know.
That's true.
This
He's
is
censoring us.
government censorship at its finest. See, they know what the fuck's going on. Have you guys heard that? Okay, there's a conspiracy theory about pigeons.
Oh yeah, definitely.
How
They're because they're,
cameras and they're not real.
yeah,
Have you ever seen a
they're,
baby
What?
pigeon? You ever heard this?
yeah,
Oh my gosh, you're right.
because they're throughout,
That's
and they're
true.
all throughout the world.
This
Like
is
no
super
matter
fun.
what.
They're
yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah.
They're always in cityscapes, like rural. They're
That's
they're rarely in rural
fascinating.
areas. They're always in cityscapes. They're the city rats. They're the rats with wings.
Yeah.
And you always see them sitting on power lines. How many other birds do you see sit on power lines and hang out on power lines?
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a theory that this is so much fun. I love it. That pigeons sit on power lines to recharge the cameras, and then they fly out.
Oh, this is
And
fun.
they
I
record
do like
all
this.
and they record everything that's going on in cities, in city areas.
Oh my.
And because you don't see them, you rarely see them in actual like forest habitats.
So you know what we have to do now? We have to go catch some pigeons.
Yeah.
And we have to go do some
Dissect them,
yeah, we have to do
split 'em
little
out, we gotta
biology
say,
experiments.
I mean,
One of
so
them just shit on my car, so there's some,
Yeah.
some of them are real.
that's how they mark you.
Yeah.
That's how they
That's
mark
it.
you to know like this guy is trouble. Let's keep an eye on this car, shall we?
And marks the cameras.
Yeah.
Yep. So
That's
yeah.
scary. That's
No,
a good one. I haven't heard that one.
It's
That's
hilarious.
good.
I love it. I don't believe it, but I think it's
But see, you have to be
hilarious.
careful because there are people who are those conspiracy theorists. And it's like, this is what's happening now, and now there's this, and now there's that, and I think again that's the whole point of division is because you have to pick a side
Yeah.
instead of just being a
Correct.
individual who thinks for
I'm biased,
themselves.
Totally
and
agree.
figure it
Totally
out.
agree with you. It's like,
Right.
all right, you know, the QAnon thing. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. You're with Q, and I mean, there's some absurd thoughts there, but it's like, for the most part,
Yeah.
if you can come to people with an actual argument, you know,
Yeah.
or some research behind it, it's like, oh, dang, like that
It's
totally
reasonable.
makes sense. And I think most people are respectable of that.
Right.
That's why I say this like every episode. It's like I don't like texting over IG with somebody. I like to go have a drink with somebody because you
Yeah,
really
that's
understand,
right.
like, hey, you know what, you actually thought about this, or you know what, you weren't thinking, and you're just
Just talking shit.
blindly following
right.
somebody else.
That's right.
And
So, while we're on the topic of texting, there's another conspiracy theory that says that we've moved to a digital age specifically so you can't understand context in how things are being said.
Mm.
So because you can't understand the context in how things are being said, if I send you a message and say, hey, what's up? And you're like, or what's up?
You don't know what that is.
And you're
Yeah.
just like, is it, what's up? Or is
Right.
it, what's up?
Right.
or I want to smash.
Okay.
Who knows?
This kind of goes into a question you were going to ask about why we film
Oh, yes.
the podcast as opposed to just audio podcast.
Yeah.
I chose to film the podcast specifically because I feel there's nuance in how people say things.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see my reaction where I'm like, man, fuck all the QAnon people,
Yeah.
Language.
you know?
Just
Exactly.
gonna censored podcast now.
Um,
Has an E right next to it.
There's like tongue in cheek in my expression that I get through video that I don't get through audio.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah, I get
Same
that.
way that there's context that you don't get through text that you get through audio.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can hear if you're nervous. I can hear if you're upset. I can hear if you're frustrated.
Or like not really knowing what you're talking about. I mean,
Right.
there's
All in
so
your
many.
Well, and body language, right? So that's the point too of the, and you
And-
see it that way.
And you know, when you're having a conversation, it's like, you know what, like I'm saying now, you know, I could text a response to what you guys are saying and be like, oh, you know what, and be like, you know, I think I know what you're talking about, but not really, you know, but I have a sensible enough reaction or response where it's like, oh, okay, you know, tell me more.
Yeah.
Or I could be like, you know what, you guys, I'm totally lost.
Right.
Like, you guys are totally educating me now, and I don't have any background to this. You get that in conversation. It's like, all right, like, I respect that. On whatever side somebody's speaking of, it really adds more to
Well,
the
and I think that
conversation.
kind of goes back to where I was saying with all of this and the lockdowns and people being behind screens and not able to get together like
Yeah,
this. It's changed our way of thinking, our thought process. It's not coming from each other's experiences and our stories that we share and the time we have and the discussions we can have. It's coming from one person on TV telling you this is what you need to think, this is what you need
Well,
to do.
and I mean, to give a little different side of that, like initially my fear was like my mom's friends, they were all passing away. Like they were catching COVID, maybe not, but they were catching COVID and they were passing away. Like she had 12 friends that passed away. So it was just like, oh dang, I don't want to put my mom in that situation. So I totally got the vaccine like in April
Okay.
of 20, what is it? What are we? 22. So
Yeah.
Probably back in
Let's see.
2015.
yeah,
21.
21.
You got it in
Yeah,
21, yeah.
I got it in April
been 15
21
years.
because I was like, you know what? I don't want to put her at risk. I don't want to put my baby mama's dad at risk because they're older. You know, they're in the demographic. I mean, everybody above 50 is there's like 90% of the people dying. So it was, I don't know how else you can break that down, but I mean, that was the reality. So I didn't want to put them at risk. So I was like, I'll get the vaccine. I'm not the healthiest dude. I have high cholesterol. So it was like, inflammation is strong with me. So I was like, you know what? That is a cause, you know, a factor of it flaring up. So I was like, you know what? I'll just get it, help myself, help them out. So that's why I ended up doing it. But that was the fear initially.
Right.
It was like those numbers, and it was like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah. But and then I hear you say it was a fear, right? So
Yeah.
it's like we're making these fear-based decisions, and
Yeah.
you made it, and I'm good for you. You,
Yeah.
you made it based on the
Yeah.
information that
On
you
what I
had
knew.
at that
Yeah,
time,
correct.
right? And so, and if you still would have gotten it, knowing more things if you know now, great, that's your choice to
Yeah.
make. And so, and that's what I'm saying, where I notice these people trying to put their fears on everyone else. And
That is
they're-
another,
right?
yeah, that is huge in itself. Like,
Yes.
people should be allowed to make their own decision, but I could never force, I should never be in the position to force you
Right.
or you or anybody else
And
to
I
make a
get
decision.
that, like,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you're fearful because you're in a place where you're an unhealthy
yeah.
individual, and so you think I need to do certain
Correct.
things, that's still your responsibility
Correct.
as an
Yes.
individual being.
yeah.
Because
Totally
health
agree.
is created. It's not something that I give you.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not going to be able to just say, "Here's your health.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Take it." It
Yeah, yeah.
doesn't work that way. So, yeah, there's a lot,
No,
a lot been going on
yeah,
lately with
for
the
sure.
high emotions and whatnot.
As
But
much as I'd hate to break this,
is it
yeah,
done?
yeah, we have to restart the audio as well.
Okay.
Everybody here who says I only
'cause it
drink
fucked
clear
you up,
alcohol, like, has been through an experience
Yeah.
of nasty, like,
Well, and I don't even like necessarily want to. So when I do, I'm very good about controlling it. I don't even want to get to a point where. Let me say this. Like I want to, because you drink to get like a little feeling
Yeah,
going,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
but so when you say you don't want to get too,
I don't want like, cause I don't know why, but my body will like, I'll get that feeling, and then if I have one more, it's like, oh, now I'm done.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I just reach that and then I stop.
oh,
And
well,
so,
hey,
which is good,
that's
right?
great
It's
self-control.
good.
Like,
It,
not
now-
many people,
now
not
I
many
have
people have
some-
that. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah.
It is.
Yeah. No,
It's better.
so I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I don't want to get to this point, but yo,
no,
it's.
it's I'm
there.
Yeah, I'm there.
Oh shit, I'm there.
I'm there. We're having fun. Like, no, it was just my buddy's 40th birthday celebration, like on Saturday.
Josh's?
Josh, yeah, my buddy Josh.
I want to get him on podcast.
Oh, dude, Josh would be awesome. But anyway,
He's a little bit of a conspiracy.
I've known that dude since first grade, and like, I mean, that's my boy. Like, if I could call anyone A1
Ouch.
day one, that's him. You know, not too
Ouch.
many people can I distinguish as that, but that's my dude. And he turned 40, and I was wrecked.
Oh, sure.
Wrecked. Like,
Good
yeah,
celebration.
no, and I'm gonna be 40 this year, and my body. when I was 21, you know, yeah, I mean, I could get wasted, bounce back, and go to work at 2 a.m. You know, now I need like a day and a half to recover.
Our
So
livers
it's,
don't
yeah,
detoxify
it's
as
just,
quickly.
it's a
That's kind of the
struggle.
problem.
Yeah, I need rest. I need coffee. I need everything.
You know when Roman's inhibitions have been lowered when he starts posting shit on IG.
Yeah,
It's like, man,
yeah.
I was like, he's really.
No, but
he's really,
even at that, like, it was Saturday, and I didn't post anything till like Sunday night because I totally like
You were
slept
so
and
out of it the
recovered. Yeah,
whole
yeah.
time.
No, but that's my dude. So
Yeah.
I was gonna put
Celebrate
something.
with
Yeah,
it.
yeah, definitely.
That's fair. Just bounce back.
But
as
yeah,
long
yeah.
as you bounce
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Don't be just
It's
stage
definitely
breaking.
getting harder and harder to bounce back though.
40 doesn't fuck around, right?
Guess not, man. I'm not there yet, but it's gonna be April. So
Following year?
nice.
I always thought you were a lot older than me.
Well, that's nice.
Hey, yeah, thank you for the compliment, bro.
That's great.
Just your attire and the way you carry yourself, you know.
Wisdom. He's wise.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
at least 5 years older.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm
Yeah.
way cooler than this guy
Yeah.
by 5 years at least. You know?
No, I mean, I was never about like being too flashy or anything, but I don't know, I just try to keep it simple. So
There's these people though that are 80, 90, doing the most incredible things with their bodies. You know,
Yeah.
weightlifting. And
yeah,
acrobats, all this stuff.
no, so like I mean, a lot of people, successful people that I try and follow and try and emulate, you know, they inspire me to. I mean, they're still killing it. Like they're doing amazing things physically and you know mentally. They're being awesome,
Yeah.
improving every day,
Right.
and that's what
Shout out.
Grant Cardone, David Goggins. I mean, David Goggins is like the G, and he keeps it real as hell. Like, and he's a big Joe Rogan like podcast dude. Joe Rogan, like, I don't know if he recently had a birthday, but I recently saw, it was Joe Rogan talking or speaking about David Goggins post or text to him on his birthday, and he's like, "Don't it's your inner bitch. Your inner bitch comes out today." You know, it was amazing little post that he had, but no, Goggins. I mean, it's amazing.
Do you do like me and watch Goggins while you're laying on your couch? You're like, yeah, Goggins, fuck you.
No, I mean,
My inner bitch is taking over today, but
Yes.
yeah, I'm with you, man. Hell yeah.
so I have like a little morning routine that I do, you know, and yeah,
fair
yeah.
share.
I know. Now I'm intrigued.
No, so I wake up at 3:30. So I'm a day trader. I trade stocks for a living right now, and I wake up at 3:30, do my little routine. I trade at 4 a.m., but then at like, so I take the girls to school at 7. Well, I start preparing breakfast for them at 7:30 a.m. and then I take them to school. By 9 o'clock, I'm home. At 9 o'clock, it's like lunchtime stock trading hours because it's East Coast time. So I go for a walk with my dog, and I'll do like 3 miles, sometimes 5 miles, and then I come back, and that's when I do my thing. So, yeah.
So the walk is your routine?
Oh, the walk is the start of it. After that, I'll do 50 push-ups, you know, 50 sit-ups and 50 squats. So, yeah. And then, so at 3:30, I make my little cup of coffee that I just started like 2 weeks ago. Cause, you know, I mean,
Your 30-minute cup of coffee.
I started that, and well, I started my little routine, and I was never a coffee drinker. So I would do my routine, and then by like noon our time, I was struggling, you know. So that's why I incorporated the coffee thing to my method, because at 3:30 in the morning is pretty goddamn early, you know.
Is the coffee helping?
Oh yeah, definitely, totally. And so almost too much. The first time I did like 3 cups. Well, I did 3 French presses.
Oh,
Because
full French
yeah,
press?
3 full French
That's a
presses.
lot of
So yeah, it was. So I have this big old like Mandalorian. It's a Mandalorian like Disney cup. So Disney cups are kind of generally like big,
They're
like
beefier.
yeah. And then it's this Mando cup, and I would fill it all the way up. And the first time I did it, I did 3 of them, and I was like, didn't want to go to sleep at night.
Right.
And I stopped like it was like 2 p.m. before I picked up the kids from school, and I was just like totally wired, and it was just like, oh my god.
Well, especially new coffee.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
caffeine's
totally.
hitting you a different
Totally.
way.
I am doing dark roast, so I heard that it's not the caffeine wise isn't too like light roast is caffeine.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. That's what I was told by my coffee people. Yeah. But so I've only done dark roast so far, but I am going after this bag I'm currently on is through. I'm gonna do a lighter roast and see how that goes.
How long have you been doing this whole routine with the walking and everything?
That's probably been like 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah.
So it was
Any
like a
results?
new year.
Yeah,
resolution
no.
thing, or-
What's that?
Any results? I mean, you look great to me.
I mean, physically, yeah. I mean, it is pretty awesome. Like trading wise, it's helped just, but
Consistency with trading.
yeah, and seeing that that morning session, I would totally try and avoid the morning session before, because there's a little bit more restrictions with pre-market trading than actual like hours of trading. Like you can't put in like stop loss orders or whatnot. Because it's like you see something happening and I'm going to enter here. All right, I'll give myself 15 cents. And you can put a stop loss in if it's regular trading hours. During pre-market trading hours, you can't do that. So you got to be like on it. So you got to be even more disciplined as a person. So it's a struggle. But no, I mean, I've definitely, and luckily, that's all that's been going on lately, really pre-market. During the regular market, at least for the last like month and a half, it's been dead. The market, I mean, with the Omicron reemerging and there's a few other things. It's just been the sentiment's been a lot lower. Like it hasn't been popping as it was when Trump was in office. That shit was flying like almost to a ridiculous pace. Like Trump. No, I mean. That's what a lot of traders are like. Oh, I love Trump. So his new DWAC, not new,
AKA Republicans.
Yeah. I mean, but they trade the shit out of that, and in October that shit went from like $10 to like $170, and that's like unheard of.
Wow.
Like, I mean, $160 move doesn't happen normally, but that was pretty crazy.
Is that a thing? Have stocks gone viral?
I mean, there are a lot of social media accounts that get like pumped from social media, but
Kind of like the one thing I can think of recently that's gone like stocks going viral or viral kind of influence on stock is the whole GameStop.
yeah, GameStop, AMC, Nokia, yeah.
And then, like,
That was like almost a year ago, right? Like,
That was about-
yeah.
And
So
I feel almost cryptocurrencies more.
yeah, I mean, cryptocurrency currently has been like taking a big dump, but
But it trends on
social media.
social media.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
it
definitely.
fluctuates,
So there's a different factor nowadays. I try and stay away from that stuff because it's like I try and just stay with the fundamentals, and most stocks will go by fundamentals. So it's like looking at the charts and just going off. You make trend lines and they'll usually bounce off of them, So
actual businesses like true.
yeah, for the majority of stocks do that. So
I literally know nothing about this.
yeah.
But it's interesting to hear you talk about it.
Yeah. No, I mean it really is. It's following trend lines and having discipline to stick by them. And sometimes you'll draw a trend line and it dips below and goes all the way down, but it's like, hey, if it's hitting this little trend line, I'm gonna put a stop loss. I'll do whatever trading frame you're going off of, whether it's a minute chart. And generally, that's what I do. I do day trading. So it's like if it goes a few cents below, I'm out of the trade. I made a bad decision. It didn't go the way I wanted it to. But having that discipline, because if it does go the way I wanted it to, it's going up like 40 cents or 30 cents. So that is doing that more times than you lose. You're gonna win overall. Yeah.
I know nothing about it. I don't think I have that discipline, to be honest. I just don't.
So what would you say culture of the podcast trend line is?
I think we're a lower.
We're in a dip. We're in a dip.
Yeah, I
We'll
mean,
get up
although
there.
we do have 100 viewers, so maybe we're
We
on,
have a spike.
Yeah, we're on that uptrend, bro.
What do you think that made that spike occur?
This guy with his goddamn post. This is our Achilles heel right now. When he posts all his conglomerates,
All
jump
my
in,
200 followers.
they
So now
I'd rather have
you
200
throw-
loyal followers than 400 iffy followers.
Half, yeah, cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your reach is thick. You know what I mean?
No, I must say I don't have the biggest fan base, but
But
you know,
but you may have the
friends.
most loyal.
but I got a good core of friends.
Shout out to Roman.
Shout out to
fans.
all my friends. Thank you.
Yeah, they're dope.
Yeah.
They're dope. I love it. It's fun. But again, like, it's fun to see those kind of like spikes in the views and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, cool, like whatever. But again, it's just coming out here and just having these conversations. It's just fun. It's so much fun. Like, I'm almost irritated at the fact that we have to stop because of all the shutters. And it's like, oh, like we were on like such a good topic.
Yeah.
We have
Lots
to,
of
like,
conspiracies to it.
yeah, right.
No, but I'm sure all your friends will follow, or a good amount of your friends will follow. You know.
That was the theory. That was the theory behind it all. It's like we'll have people on, they'll share,
Yeah.
and then word of mouth, it'll just it'll go viral on
No,
its
but
own.
That way.
It was awesome
That's
having
what
you on. Like
I
It
am-
was.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am very grateful to have been
Yeah.
on. Thank
Yes.
you.
No,
I
you-
appreciate the invite.
Your perspective, you just had a natural just niche for just being. I mean,
Gifted
honest.
gab.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
here-
real. Like
Yeah,
you
thank
weren't
you. I appreciate
cutting
that.
any shit. You weren't trying to
No,
promote
yeah.
anything crazy.
Here's the cool thing: is that if you were to take Karen's ideology, if you would take your ideology and my ideology, and if you were just to see them on the surface level, you'd be like liberal, conservative.
I'm so in the middle.
Oh,
Yo,
yeah.
I wouldn't even call
I
you
don't wanna
conservative.
label
Yeah.
I wouldn't
myself.
even call
Yeah.
you conservative.
Yeah,
Well,
good, that's
with
what I'm
with,
going
with
for.
that.
Conspiracy theorist, we could kind of say. Right?
Well, that's why I asked
Right.
that like Trump question, like
Right.
because I asked.
Your
Is
barometer?
that
Yeah,
pro
yeah,
sacrifice
yeah.
thing?
No,
You know what I mean?
'cause,
but
yeah,
you're
yeah.
right. That's a good question.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
ask for
No, because
And then
clarify.
I would probably get the more conservative Trumper type of label.
But
Right.
are you a Trumper?
I'm not.
Yeah.
That's the
I
funny part.
wouldn't
But
even-
you
yeah.
Take it away.
but exactly.
You
like,
probably.
if you would
out
ask
of the
Eric,
three of us.
I'm a super Trumper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's not so much the fact that I'm. It's just kind of like I try to see logic in all
Yeah, yeah.
facets of what's going on.
Yeah.
If I can't see logic in it, then you're full of shit,
Mhm.
right? Some people will argue that my logic is flawed. So be it.
Correct, yeah, yeah.
Whatever It is what it is. My logic. Fuck you.
And
But-
that should be entitled to anybody, right?
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
hey,
And-
that's
and
how I
think-
define this. Try and convince me otherwise, you know?
I think that's the speech
Yeah.
that we all talk.
Correct.
The three of us. You know, no matter where we sit on the spectrum, no matter where we sit with COVID, no matter where we sit with political ideologies, when it comes down to it, we speak the. You have your opinion. That's cool.
Yeah,
Give me the right to say fuck your
yeah.
opinion.
Exactly.
You know, give me the right
Totally.
to say right on with your opinion.
Yeah.
I back your opinion.
No, and that's why I love having her on. Like, she questioned some things, she educated me on some things, so it's like, yo, I'm all for that, you know, and we all should be. So, putting a bias initially is the not so right approach,
No.
and I'm glad none of us think like that.
Right.
So.
Right. Which is why I
Yeah.
keep me personally, I keep my circle in that same realm.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no, if you have a rational way of thinking, you're more than welcome to be around here. If you're completely irrational, you're still welcome to be
But-
around, but get ready for.
But it's hard, especially nowadays. It's like you kind of have to reach out to the opposite sides. You know,
Right.
it's like because
keep yourself grounded.
correct, yeah, like because it's like, dang, you know what? Everybody I'm talking to is like too close to what I'm thinking. Like I need to,
Echo chamber.
yeah,
What do I get
exactly.
out of it?
Right.
We can't be this right, you know.
Right.
So
Or can you?
maybe.
This-
But-
the decision is up to you
Yeah,
guys.
definitely.
So
That's
go
why,
ahead.
yeah.
Go. You go.
No. That's why I do like to reach out right now.
Yeah. It's definitely positive. I encourage it. This is part of the reason we do the podcast is to encourage that kind of interaction, that kind of dialogue. For those of you who've stuck through this long, I'm not sure how I'm going to break this up, how I'm going to make this work, but I'm going to do my best. Hopefully, all the audio is good and all the visual is good as well. But
200 followers. No, 100 followers.
100 followers. Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I thought you were
Start off
making a goal
slow
for after this.
and let's go. But yeah, hopefully 200
100
followers
followers.
is right behind 100. We're at 90 now. 100 followers. We'll do the giveaway. We'll have you guys tune into either the podcast, the Instagram, or the YouTube, and we'll decide who the winner is, and we'll get you some cool shit. So thank you guys. Appreciate you for tuning in.
Thank our guest, Karen.
Thank you, Karen, so much.
Appreciate you.
For being here.
Misinformed.
Chicks dig it as well. So see you guys. Take care. Shoots.
And I've been down